interviewing Corey Butterfield. And I'm going to tell you why. Over the months, I think it's been about 7 months that we have been on the radio. And because of the information and the show itself, the type of show it is, it's about Bermuda and Bermudians. There are quite a few people who have taken interest. In fact, I've had people say that they can't miss it. They like to know. They don't know what we're going to say next, and it goes on and on and on. So people have been asking me about you.
About me?
Yes, about
Mate,
you.
I am irrelevant. It's the information.
No, but they want to know Corey the man. Who is Corey Butterfield? You've always done things behind the scenes, okay? Even now, you're not on TV, but you're on radio. You're still kind of behind the scenes, although your voice is out there.
Right.
But what is intriguing by a lot of people is your thought pattern. They want to know not exactly what makes you tick, but what type of person you are. So that's what that call was about this morning. Corey, this is what we need to do. We need to let the public know who you are.
Okay.
Okay?
I agree. I will play. So, Willie has prepared questions. If you're hearing actual nerves, because I haven't been interviewed before by media, by anybody. I don't think that I can remember.
Okay.
And if one of my biggest weaknesses is if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you. And so I'm afraid of what you're gonna ask because I'm gonna tell you if you ask me. But let's go for it, mate. So. Everyone, do you want to...
Well, one is that we're not going to take any calls right now. We're just going to go to this section, nice and smooth. And if you have any calls for Corey, any questions for Corey after this, feel free to call in. How about that?
Okay.
Okay? There's a request I'm going to ask of you. When we get there, you'll know what it is.
You know something? You're really... Okay, all right.
Well, this isn't rehearsed. You have no idea of what I'm going to say, so it makes it candid.
It makes it nerve-wracking.
Well, here we go.
All right.
We're going to ask, initially we're going to ask some questions to get you warmed up.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And they're easy.
Okay.
Honestly.
I hope I know the answers.
They're not proven. And the first one up top, which make you very comfortable.
Okay. All right. Cool.
What is your cup match team?
Somerset.
Okay, that was easy, right?
Oh yeah, well,
and you're feeling comfortable already. See
already,
that?
and I must say you're wearing light blue and dark blue today.
Well, I knew I was going to ask that question,
Clearly.
so I wanted to be in front of you with the colors that matter.
And make sure I didn't get too comfortable.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, favorite sport?
Ooh, football.
Okay, do you play football?
I used to. Backyard kicks, that kind of thing. I'll tell you what, I used to play the backyard kick that I became a part of began when I was even the youngest guy there. And I would say the guys who, although we're not really kicking at the moment, we normally do Boxing Day and New Year's Day, we skipped it this year.
Right.
I would say I'm probably mid-aged of the people who play now. So there may be a few younger than me, but the majority are older than me.
Okay. Your favorite English Premier Football team?
Can I give a bit of a
sure you can
asterisk of that one?
Listen, this is your show. You can do anything you want. Okay?
Okay. Well, we'll make it simple. Chelsea Football Club.
Good choice. Okay.
Yep.
Did you want to add anything else to that?
I was going to, but I think maybe I probably should.
Well, maybe I should ask you this. How are they doing in the league?
Oh, no, that's not, I don't really know.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that's what that's the part I was going to clear up.
So why Chelsea?
So so this is going to be a bit of a long story. Back in the day, and your vintage is slightly more ripe than mine, you may remember a show called Big League Soccer.
Yes.
And that show would come on Saturday nights.
Right.
And I remember that show so much. I remember Lobster Pot used to have the commercial.
Okay.
And guys on a boat going out fishing. And back then, you remember after the highlights, they would have all of the scores. Macclesfield Town 2, Leeds County 3.
Yes.
Right. Well, back then I was Manchester United. And I liked Manchester United throughout the years.
Okay.
And then something happened, and I said, you know what? I started feeling like Chelsea is like the second team, like my emotional team. I would follow their games, but, want United to win. And then it got to the point where I actually felt more about Chelsea than United, so I started following Chelsea. But I don't think I watched 90 minutes of football yet this season.
No?
Not even 90, like a full 90. Right before, my TV will go on football like on a Friday evening because I had satellite or whatever, and it'll go off maybe 2 o'clock Sunday from watching Japanese league football. Like I watched a whole ton of football back then.
Okay. Another easy question for you.
Sure.
What's your favorite TV show?
That's not easy. I can't say I have one. I don't really watch TV. I don't think I can name 3 current TV shows right now. So if you were to go home right now into my house and turn on TV, what you're going to find is YouTube.
Okay.
And if you were to scroll the YouTube, it says like continue watching or, what I just finished watching.
Right.
I'm a little too embarrassed to tell you what those would be. But let's just say I tend to not watch much modern stuff. Okay. I watch a lot of old. In fact, yeah, you'd probably be surprised if I tell you what I was watching.
I'm going to get to that.
What do you mean, what I was watching last night?
No, what you have watched and you've indicated that you really enjoyed it.
Well, I don't know what that is, but I tell you last night, before I turned the TV off, the show I was watching was, I don't even know what decade it's from, to be honest.
Right.
But you remember the Green Hornet and Bruce Lee was Kato?
Yes.
That's what I've been...
That was a wicked show.
That's what I've been watching since Saturday, I think.
Okay. Well, it brings me to this. I remember some episodes back, if you can recall.
I think it's coming back to me.
Yes. And you came in and you were talking about the Love Boat.
Absolutely. I had to skip past that choice to get to the Green Hornet last night. And it was Isaac. Was just like that.
Okay. All right. So that would be one of your favorite shows, I gather.
You know what I think it is? I had a childhood second to none. Well, my brother and I. And I think that there's something about, I can't really explain. It's also like the weather. Like you like sunny weather.
Yes.
For me, between my boarding school and college, it was always in cold country. So maybe like the little injection of those nostalgic things kind of keep me going. I'm not sure. Okay. But I definitely watch old TV. I have, in turning 25, I watch everything from Barney Miller to Fantasy Island.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now we're going into culinary.
Now, you still can play nice, right? You still can play nice.
We're friendly fire.
Okay, all right.
What is your favorite food?
I'm not sure, it's not a meal or a dish, but let's put it like this. If I was stranded on an island.
Yes.
And there was only one thing I could have. This is going to sound boring and crazy.
Right.
I can't give you that answer. Let me try to think of something else. Can I go back to that? Let's put it like this. The one thing that I constantly will eat is rice.
Okay.
You really would have to mess up rice for me to...
Just plain rice or...
Plain rice, peas and rice, hop and join, sushi rice, basmati rice,
That's
rice and peas, rice and beans.
Okay. I'll remember that. Okay?
Okay.
So that's on food. We're going into schooling right now. What primary school did you go?
Southampton Glebe.
And your high school?
Can we go back a minute? Can I just...
Sure.
I actually... There's someone who I saw the other day who I remember being in nursery with.
Right.
And for me, because I still have these pictures, my education began at Toddler Garden. And people may know Toddler Garden. And I went from Toddler Garden to Southampton Glebe. In fact, Mama Edie before Toddler Garden, Durant, and then Toddler Garden.
Right.
And people will know Miss Brangman for Toddler Garden.
Okay.
And then Southampton Glebe.
Okay, interesting.
And from Southampton Glebe, I went to Warwick Academy.
Okay.
And my parents and I think, well, they're now past, so I'm not sure who's right. In other words, they were probably right, but I still have a clear memory of this. And they said my memory was false. I don't have many of those, but here's my memory. That I was, I was pretty sharp in primary school.
Okay.
And back then you had to do the Stay 9 tests, right? English and math.
Right.
And my marks were high enough to sort of choose the school I wanted to go to.
Oh, wonderful.
And I wanted to go to Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't know what happened. But to my side of the story, my memory is that someone told my parents that while I am intelligent and all of that, I needed the discipline of work academy.
Okay.
That would be far more discipline. And without that discipline, I might whatever. Mm-hmm. And so off I went to work academy. My parents said it didn't quite go that way. I don't still know how I ended up at work academy. All I can tell you was work academy let me know very early on they hated me.
Oh, wow.
They may have liked other people, but I was in the music class, and bar one other guy, I was the only black guy. So you can imagine, I'm coming from Southampton Glebe,
yes,
a primary school that I walked to and walked from.
Okay.
Right? And I knew everybody there, and the teachers knew my parents, and I knew. And I'm at Work Academy, and this is, the 70s.
Right, got you.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And this English man came up to me on like the second or third day of school and asked me to pick up trash. In fact, told me to pick up trash on my lunch hour. And I hadn't done anything, but I was standing there alone. But one good thing I will say, within a few days of me getting to Work Academy, I got off the bus at my house, and another, I would say guy, but I was a little boy, and this was another little boy, and he got off the bus as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a year ahead of me in Work Academy, and he sort of spoke, hey, and I said, hey. And he says, you live around here? And I said, my house is up there, and he said he was going that way, that he was going home, change his clothes, and coming over to my house.
Okay.
And to this day, there was a brief hiatus when we had a misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. But today, he and I are friends.
Okay, good. That's a good story. Now,
I left Work Academy in my third year.
Okay.
I did not finish at Work Academy.
Okay.
I went to boarding school in Maine.
Okay.
And I would just say, a 14-year-old, and I wasn't the only Bermudian, but a few of us went, a 14-year-old boy from warm, sunny Bermuda to minus 35 degrees coming off Mount Washington in Maine at a school that was not even in a city.
Right.
It tests your character, for sure, for sure.
So did you finish boarding school?
I did, and strangely enough, as I completed boarding school, mm-hmm. There was one class, even today, so right now, I can take numbers, right? Words are my thing. I really can do numbers. And I think I graduated from that school, and there was a college counselor at the school, and back then you applied, or maybe you still do, but you applied for like a reach school, right? The school that, they probably wouldn't accept me, but I'm going to go for it.
Okay.
The schools you wanted to go, and then you applied for safe schools.
Right.
So you had some options.
Yes.
Well, I got into the reach school and not the safe school.
Yes.
And the other school, I ended up going to university where that same friend who I got off the bus with was going. And he was already there, and I went there.
You wouldn't mind saying which school?
Oh, no, University of Western Ontario.
Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm, in Canada. Yep.
So you went from cold to colder.
You got, like I said, I tell everybody, my educational experience will either have sort of reinforced who you are, if your family gave you that strong identity and you had that parenting,
right.
Because I can tell you, I would name the other people who went with me to
boarding school,
mm-hmm. But I'll tell you this, that was 1987, and I thought we were the first Bermudians there.
Right.
I later, last summer, found out that the Speaker of the House went to the same boarding school 10 years prior to that.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
So it was Kent's Hill School in Maine, and like I said, I saw things there that if you didn't have, in fact, all the Bermudians there were strong people. Okay. It was a place where if you were not strong in terms of who you were, what you would stand for,
right,
and what you would or would not get into,
right.
So my parents and I instilled in my daughter that all rules applied no matter where you were.
Yes.
You need something like that because some of those Americans, they don't have the rules that we have in Bermuda, and their parents give them wide latitude.
Oh, mercy.
You know?
Now, you did mention that your parents said you needed discipline.
Yeah.
Was that as a preparation to go into work academy? What was that like?
No, I don't. Like I said, I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
I was always a good boy. If anybody, and honestly, if you, between me and my brother was a bit more rambunctious, let's say. So I think that maybe things might have come to me easy, and therefore after that, what would he do?
Okay.
And so my father would tell anybody to punish Corey, you know, we had to send him outside. If you send him to his room, he'd be reading and reading and reading and reading, which
Right.
I did do. So I don't know about the discipline, because he always had me working, right? I worked from a young age. The other day,
Go ahead.
I called my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I said, there are some French doors in my house, right? And there are 4 panels of doors, and each door has 20 panes of glass on it.
Okay.
And so to clean it, you had to wash 2 sides of 40 panels of glass, and then do the wood itself.
Right.
So I was doing it the other day, and I called my brother. I said, hey, man, can you believe I'm here doing these doors I do as a child? Like, I can't believe I'm here doing chores.
Right.
He said, what are you talking about? I said, hold on. You mean Mom and Daddy never made you do the doors? He said, no, what door? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know why they felt I needed discipline.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing I can put it down to was academic rigor, that they may have thought that I needed to be challenged, and they might have thought I'd be more challenged at Work Academy than Berkeley, and therefore the discipline would kick in.
So did you enjoy reading?
Still do.
Okay.
I read. I was actually trying to figure out how much I read in the average course of a day. That's what I do in a day. I must say, I don't. The only other thing I do, I'm on the phone. But if I'm not on the phone, I'm reading. I love reading.
I love reading too, but I don't have that ability or gift where you can keep the memory of what you've read. Okay?
I'll tell you one thing. I was on a flight coming back to Bermuda once, and I had bought this book that I couldn't wait to read. It's a pretty thick book.
Yes.
And it was a book about how the U.S. Interferes with countries around the world for its interest. And this was written by a guy who called himself an economic hitman.
Okay.
And so I'm reading the book, and it's coming back from England. And we're coming into land, so I closed the book a bit. I'm pretty much finished it.
Right.
And I had been sitting next to, not that I even really knew, because I really wanted to get into this book.
Yes.
And the lady sitting next to me said, sir, could I ask you a question? So I said, sure. She goes, are you Bermudian? I said, yeah, I'm coming. What do you need to know about the country? I'm, switched on to tourism mode, right?
Right.
And she says, my husband and I have been staring at you pretty much this whole flight. You've been reading this book nonstop. And I said, oh, yeah, I wanted to read. No. And do you know how fast you read? I said, no, I don't read quickly. And that was the very first time that I even questioned whether or not I read a lot.
Okay.
Compared to the average person. I thought everybody liked reading. The only difference was as I got older, that same friend I tell you got off the bus, the same one at Bermuda University, we found that if we wanted to read a book, we would have to buy 2 and give 1 to the other one, because amongst our friends, how many guys buy or even read books?
That's true. Very true.
So between he and I, that was the only person who I knew who would read at that level.
Okay. So tell me something. Did you have any influences between primary school and, say, high school? Is it any one particular person, or maybe a few people that influence you?
Well, there are 2 teachers who were my teachers in Southampton Glebe. To this day, I will always say that this particular teacher had the biggest influence on me. And to this day, I don't know why. I can't tell you. I can give an example. I never will spell friend or friendship wrong, because she said, keep the and at the end.
Okay.
So it's Friend.
Okay.
Years ago,
Right.
I was at the airport landing. I thought I saw her. And I was so nervous. And when the lady walks over. I said to the gentleman standing next to her, "Hi," and I said the name. He says, "No, everybody thinks my wife is her. That woman must have been amazing." Said she was my teacher. So I started bragging about my teacher, and it's not even her husband or
right.
But it was Miss Pearson, Yvonne Pearson.
Okay.
My primary 7 teacher, and she had a black Batmobile type car.
Okay.
And she would come up to Southampton Glebe, and at least I and some other people would run to her car to help carry her bags in.
Right.
I don't know what it was. I can't. My primary 2 teacher, believe it or not, is my current next door neighbor. Yeah, indeed. And when I was in primary 2, I went to primary 3. So I would be in primary 3 doing the classes, but go back to primary 2 for naps in the afternoon.
Right.
So I was and when I finished primary 2, I went to primary 4. But that primary 2 teacher, I don't know why, but I just have a sense of her being quite a nurturing person. Mm-hmm. So Mrs. Pearson, definitely.
Okay. During high school, any particular person?
I hated high school in Bermuda.
Okay.
Work Academy was, I'll tell you how bad what it did to me. Mm-hmm. I entered Work Academy loving reading, right?
Right.
And I remember in my 3rd year, I left Work Academy at the end of my 3rd year. During that 3rd year, I think my parents realized this was not working. And so I had a cousin who currently is a doctor. I think she's professor of psychology, and she was studying. So my parents would send me to her house for study skills, and she gave me great study tips.
Okay.
But my brain, it just wasn't working. I'll tell you how bad it was. I remember my father, I was studying at his desk one night for a test. And he came to me and ripped. Now, let me just give you some context.
Yeah.
I finished, Work Academy in 1983.
Okay.
So in 82, 83, he came up to me when I was studying and ripped a $50 bill in half.
Okay.
I said, "Corey, if you just get a B, you can have the other half." I couldn't even get a B. I didn't even get the B. So between your study tips and threats and incentives and whatever, Work Academy was just the wrong fit for me.
Okay.
And I could tell, I knew, it just didn't work out. But I am very, very grateful because I have some friends still from that time. Okay.
Well, I'm going to flip the coin right now. And
you haven't been flipping it all this time?
Well, no, I haven't. Not yet. I'm just warming you up. I'm warming you up. But very revealing.
This is a little stronger than a simmer, let me tell you.
Yes, okay. There's a story, and I would like to hear it. I've heard it, and I'm sure that a lot of the audience hasn't heard or has no idea about it. And it's about your ancestry. Tell me about your legacy as far as Bermuda and how your family got to Bermuda. Oh, I love this story. Go ahead.
Willie,
yes.
I am so grateful this is a radio station and not a podcast. If people had cameras, okay. I think probably the more direct ones to talk about would be when I speak about reparations and the problems of reparations. So on the one hand, my mother's maternal family began in sort of January 1st, 1800.
Okay.
And some nuns had left Bahamas and brought a newborn with them to Bermuda, who turned into Charles Roach Rattery.
Okay.
One of the wealthiest men ever in Bermuda.
Okay.
From my reading, he owned all the land from East Shore in Somerset to West Side, from Elis Harbor to Westover Farm.
Okay.
I have read many, many ships that he owned, and white crews were sailing his ships for him. So Charles Roach Rattery and the Ratterys and the Phillipses and in Somerset, that's my maternal family. My grandfather's family is from St. Kitts, and my oldest living relative, my uncle Aki, who lives down off Napton Hill, Harrington Sound. I actually have all these notes. He and I had a long chat early last year. In fact, I have to go see him about the lady boats and Lady Nelson. He's tracked. It's funny you say this because let me just say, Monday, a cousin called and he talked about me being a pastor. And most people, because my last name is Butterfield, they think of, and I'll get to him, Reverend Dr. Cyril Butterfield. Right. However, my uncle Asquith on the Phillips side told me about his grandfather, so my great-grand,
right,
who would preach on Sunday evenings at Watford Bridge.
Yes.
A woman at Spanish Point told my uncle that when she was a little girl, her parents and her would sit on the water's edge in Spanish Point and hear that man preach from Watford Bridge.
Okay.
That's the power of his voice and preaching. So Butterfield and Phillips are both. Now, my grandfather was one of the founders of the country squire. So I would just say that which is a bar. So, I'm just going to say, that part. Then on the Butterfield side, the Butterfields began in Bermuda with a shipwreck, well, kind of a wreck, but the Enterprise slave ship that came in February the 11th, 1835. And we are descended from 5 sisters who were on board. So the ship was called the Enterprise. The Friendly Societies had been formed, and Richard Tucker was the head of the Friendly Societies, and he sued the captain, John Smith, I think, and sued him in a writ of habeas corpus, which is bring the bodies before the court.
Yes.
The provost marshal went to go serve the captain, and he said, get cracking. I just limped in here because my ship was damaged in a storm. I'm not even in Bermuda like that, and this is my cargo. You have no right to be here. And the provost marshal said, you're in Bermuda, we've emancipated slaves, we've abolished slavery. Those people will be brought ashore.
Okay.
And you come to court. And he said, all right, I'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
The provost marshal said, no. This summons is for 9 o'clock tonight. Because had they waited, the tide would have risen, the boat would have gotten off the reef, and they would have escaped. And so 78 enslaved human beings came ashore at Bars Bay Park, and there's a statue there now called We Arrive.
Right.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
As a representative of the families who are directly connected to that statue, and at the time, I believe Premier Ewart Brown was in place when that statue was erected, and I think I read remarks. If I could just ask people who use Bars Bay Park to have a bit more respect for the location. I've seen a couple of events, the picture's been in Burn News of World Gazette, so there's nothing untoward, but I don't think they're aware of what it represents. And so I'm not, that old man, get off my grass, shaking my cane at you.
Right.
But just, maybe the corporation could do a bit something to identify what it's about. So between the Enterprise is the Butterfield family.
Yes.
And the Phillips family, which is essentially the side, the Ratterys anyway, not the Phillips, the Rattery would be Charles Roach Rattery. And that's why I always say when it comes to reparations, on the one hand, my family that started when slavery was still kicking became very, very wealthy. Mm-hmm. And another side of my family arrived after emancipation.
Okay.
So, can I get some change or not?
That I find that awesome. Awesome in the fact that how many of us, in particular black families, can take the ancestry back 100, 200, 300 years. A lot of that information is lost. Or people are not finding the time to actually explore their legacy.
When I have to get introduced in these rare occasions that I do give public remarks, I will say, please tell them I am an extremely proud 8th generation Bermudian.
Yes. So that brings me to this question. What responsibility do you owe to your legacy?
Oh. You're going to probably find this bizarre. Mm-hmm. But having lived a life behind the scenes, most people have no clue what I've done.
Right.
And so all I try to do is better than yesterday. But I don't know that I don't know that I'll have a legacy. I don't think that anybody will be able to say, yeah, that guy was, he did a lot in his time where he really tried to serve his people. I don't think anybody knows the things I've done in order to be able to do that. So the legacy part, I just, in all honesty, I really, this is kind of, I tell you, but if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. You got to learn not to ask me stuff. But the only real thing that I really, really want or care about is I want to make the home I currently live in known as the Butterfield Homestead.
Okay.
So one, because hey, the Butterfields lived up there. That's the Butterfields. That's where Butterfields stay. Like that's the legacy that I would like to create, if that's possible.
Okay. Now we're going to start getting a little. Get into the thickness of things.
I've told people my family, my education.
No, we're getting into the nut of it. You understand?
No, I don't. But I'm just here.
We're going deep.
I've got my seatbelt on.
Are you ready for this?
I got on a seatbelt.
Okay. What experiences shape your strongest beliefs?
So let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about this show. Occasionally, the reason why I know what this show is in my life is occasionally I will think I'm prepared for the show.
Right.
And at the last minute, something will occur to me, and I'll pick that up. And when I get here to the studio, that becomes the big thing.
Okay.
And it becomes the thing that people call in about or send messages about. And so what I'm about to do right now, I was actually going to call my brother because I wasn't sure I should say this. But if you ask me that question again, I am going to read you an answer from a document that my mother gave to me.
Okay.
And I'll explain what the document is if you can ask that question again.
Okay. I'm going to ask the question again.
Ask it again.
Okay. What experiences shape your strongest beliefs?
So my mother gave me this document once. She says, Corey, I've just read something that is the closest I've seen to a description of you. It's my mother who's given me this, okay?
Okay.
And I was 22.
Okay.
And I'm going to read this. It's so weird because I printed this. Anyway, here's what my mother gave me. The title is The Day of Dramatic Choice. By the way, really, you need to know that my birthday is why she sent me this.
Okay.
My birthday is September the 11th, the 11th of September. So this is titled, and you find this online. If you put in The Day of Dramatic Choice, you'll see it. So The Day of Dramatic Choice. This is my mother who gave me this. Okay. The lives of September 11th people usually pivot around certain vital and dramatic decisions which they are forced to make. These decisions may be thrust on them when they are still quite young, perhaps before their 16th year. Later, when their career or private life seems to be going smoothly, when they are established on their path, they will be met with repeated, often unexpected crossroads. Within a society's limits on freedoms, the power to make choice may be an individual's greatest right. This fact is not at all lost on September 11th people who know how to wield great power through the choices they make. There is no denying that people born on this day enjoy shocking others. They pride themselves on daring to risk and also enjoy recounting their exploits later. Everything that is boring, middle class, and mundane is rejected by them in thought and deed. Yet, at the same time, they have a tremendous need for the kind of stability that can only be found in a warm, loving family situation. Consequently, there is a conflict between what they like to think they are, highly unconventional, and what they too often may be, highly conventional. Politically, those born on this day are likely to believe in the emancipation not only of women and minority groups, but of all oppressed people. They despise any sort of condescending attitude on the part of power holders or politicians toward the masses and resent all false displays of caring or emotion. Above all, they hate snobbery. For them, Human feelings are sacred and should never be toyed with or exploited. Yet they themselves can be quite adept at influencing others emotionally and can well be accused of being manipulative in this respect. Certainly, they know how to get their own way by whatever means. Usually, they use their sharp wits to present their case in a literal, logical, and straightforward fashion, which can become their trademarks.
That's nice. Your mother, oh, wow. So she described that as the closest thing that describes you. Well, that lines up perfectly with my next question. What does loving your country truly mean to you beyond politics?
Okay. So I am not an extroverted person. You aren't likely to see me out there jumping up and down with a Bermuda flag at a football game.
Okay.
That's just not my nature. But when I say I love Bermuda, I mean just because Bermuda's Bermuda. I once went to an employment agency, and they said they couldn't work with me because I'm too Bermudian. I don't even know what that meant.
What?
I honestly don't know, given the other talents I have.
Right.
Loving Bermuda, to me, a lot of people think I've been blackballed in Bermuda. And that they're not right. I was blackballed in 2003. I have been blacklisted since 2005.
Oh, wow.
And the difference between the two is blackballed is you aren't getting further in this organization. Blacklisted, no organization touches you.
Right.
Blacklisted.
Wow.
And yet I'm still here. And it was Paulu, it was Julian, it was all of the people, Julian Hall and the people who I knew and spoke with who had to leave Bermuda in order to be who they were or to come back to then help Bermuda. Right. And I refused. I made a decision. I was not leaving. I was going to do what it took to stay and help.
Okay. So how do you decide what to speak, when to speak up, and when to stay silent? Funny, huh?
Yeah, well, this show changed it. That's why I'm laughing. I'll tell you, if prior to this show, if you called me and asked me about the state of the country, you might hang up 3 hours later. And I'd have that much to say.
Right.
I don't have those conversations anymore because it comes out here.
Yes.
And so the first thing I think about is whether I'm going to hurt someone else or whether I can say it myself. Yeah. And if I can say it, even if you said it really, but I say it and people think I said it, then that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Also, I think that people trust me. So I try and I don't breach confidences, particularly on national issues. So obviously I'm sitting here knowing a lot more than I say on certain things because I worked in that field or whatever. But I choose to, there's the 3 gates, you know, is it honest, is it helpful, is it necessary?
Yes.
And if it doesn't do all of those, then you shouldn't say it. I wish I was that good. I'm not that good.
Okay.
But I always want to say the thing, like I said here on the show, I was terrible. And I am very, very concerned about giving out so much information that people dislike their country as opposed to loving their country.
Okay.
And right now, the information we gave out last week and this week, I could see people saying, well, what's the point, man?
Yes.
And so I do worry about that.
Okay.
All the time.
So what qualities in people give you the most hope?
Honesty.
Okay.
If you're honest, even if you're racist, if you're honest, I can deal with that. We can deal with that. If you're honest. It's when people play games of honesty.
Right.
And honestly, that thing that I read, if you're exploiting someone, if you're manipulating someone, you have me as an enemy, and there is just no limits.
Okay.
No limits.
Okay. No, you're this one.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
You're laughing too. You're laughing. What does this mean to me?
Okay. What truth do you think most people are not ready to hear? Oh, you're laughing now. Look at you.
But if I think they're not ready to hear it, how am I going to say it?
Well, but the question is, what do you think?
What do I think
Yes.
is a truth that people aren't ready to hear?
Yes.
I think people would be stunned at the active racists that are in this country.
Oh, wow. That's a big statement.
It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's far easier to believe that there's something black people can do to be treated differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to believe that this person deserves to be treated this way, or this class of people deserve to be treated this way, than to actually work out why you feel that way in the first place.
Okay.
And if you're me, and you know how people with information exploit people without information, how people with money exploit people without money.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I say things, I've said it here on the radio many times, I match energy.
Okay.
A lot of people would not imagine some of the racist stuff that goes on. I'm directly racist, okay, that goes on in this country. I think that's the truth that black and white Bermudians are not prepared to face.
Okay. That's fair.
Sorry, can I go on,
Sure.
on about that? And you know how else I know that? The
that?
financial contributions to charities and organizations that deal with same-sex relationships versus the support and donations to organizations that try to uproot racism or fight discrimination is blatantly obvious. The discrimination that they're prepared to fund is what they believe are the rainbow challenges. But the actual people of this country, that funding and that support isn't there.
Okay. Yes. Wow. What subject do you feel most misunderstood about?
Sorry?
Which subject do you feel most misunderstood about?
That I have an opinion that people get wrong, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think I'm that important that people ask my opinion on things, to be honest.
Whether you believe it or not, people do honor. Not honor, but they take as value what you actually think. You may not think it. I'm telling you, as your friend, people do.
I don't think... this one I think you and I are going to disagree. But I don't think there's... So the question is, what is something that people misunderstand my position on?
What truth do you think most people are not... No, not that one. How do you... Okay, I'm looking for it now. What subject do you feel most misunderstood about?
Okay. It's so weird, but I probably could have answered. The answers I would have given, I think I've since which established what I was getting at. Right?
Okay.
So, we had a call about me and the PLP. I would think that a lot of people misunderstand that. I know for a fact this one isn't even a question. But remember, and I can't believe maybe I shouldn't bring this up.
Right.
Maybe it's probably best I don't. But there was a national issue that my name was connected to.
Yeah.
And I know, Jetgate, I'll just say it.
Okay.
Okay? That means that we don't hold back on the show, right? And I had to watch my reputation. I watched lies. Jetgate was something that reveals all of the worst of Bermuda, including racism. Okay? It was not what it was. I watched as people claimed all sorts.
Yes.
And you see, one of the differences between me and most people who operate in the fields I work in, they all have support. They have parties, they have departments, they have budgets, they have people who write letters to the editor forum, they have columnists, they have people who will jump in.
Okay.
Is me one.
Okay.
And so I'm out here without a net and without a posse.
Yes.
So for me, I think it's Peter Tosh. I'm not a politician, I just get treated like one. But I can tell you that Jetgate one, was one that I had applied for jobs. And that article came out, and I started getting all kinds of letters, and
Oh, no.
they will never know the damage that did to me personally. But again, I wasn't a politician, I wasn't in newspaper, so why, it doesn't matter. That's why I keep saying, I don't think it matters about people knowing, getting it wrong about me. But on Jetgate, they definitely got that one completely wrong.
Okay. What book, idea, or moment most changed the way you think?
There's been a few.
Okay.
In terms of relevant to this show, I guess, back in 2009, it's so weird, I remember the date, everything. I got bogged down with a question. The question was, how did we get here?
Okay.
And I didn't mean the 1960s, 1970s. Even I wanted to go back to, like, how did we get here? And the book that I bought, I recommend anybody who it's a lot to stomach, so prepare yourself if you're going to read it. But there's a book called Slaves and Slaveholders of Bermuda. I can't remember, and then it's a 1620 something to 18. I can't remember the full title, but it's Slaves and Slaveholders of Bermuda, written by a lady, Virginia Bernhardt. And I read that book, and I realized I was reading like a textbook. I was making notes. And I slammed the book shut when I read this moment. And at this moment, I now felt I had reached the bottom. It was a law that was passed that if a black man and a white man were walking down the street towards each other, if the black man didn't pull off to the side and bow as the white man went by, that white man could kill him on the spot.
Oh, wow.
And when I realized in my contemplation that was bad manners that was worth your life.
Yes.
And I felt that was the bottom. That I had now reached the very bottom of black-white relationships in Bermuda, where one could kill the other with impunity over manners, for lack of anything else. And so I started reading from then forward. That book, I once, when I was in law school, took a weekend, like a Thursday to a Sunday. They had I thought it was like a cruise, but as a student, and it was on a ferry, so it didn't, it was from, I think, Portsmouth to Spain and back. And I read a book on that journey that I think that was pretty influential as well. A bit kind of hippy-dippy, drippy kind of book. Right? It wasn't exactly, but for that time, it was, I almost want to tell you, it's called the Celestine Prophecy.
Okay.
And then in terms of some of the advice that I give people, Machiavelli the Prince. Again, I read some pretty tough books. Like if you read Machiavelli the Prince, it's tough, right? It's tough reading. I tend to not read too many,
Gotcha.
Dr. Seuss books.
Okay. Now, as a good friend of yours, I've seen how generous you are with your service and your time. Okay? So this next section is going to be about your generosity and service. Okay? Why is helping others without expecting anything in return important to you? Okay, you're quiet. I've seen it over. I'm saying this because I've seen it over and over. We'll be somewhere and somebody say, "Oh, Corey, can let me have a word with you?" I said, "Corey, we've got 5 minutes to be where we're supposed to be. Just 1 sec, really. Just 1 sec. Let me just see what he wants. Let me see what." And then that turns into 10 minutes, and then we're late.
On Saturday. It's funny, you asked a question about legacy earlier, and this question. I was out with someone on Saturday who's much older. Sorry, the relevance about age is just, I want to give you perspective.
Yes.
So they weren't my age, and they weren't younger than me.
Right.
And he said something kind of funny. But he had said something about a friend of his who wasn't great. And he had told me this 3 weeks ago. And I said, "Did you get my email?" And he says, "What?" I said, "Well, when you told me what the guy was, I called this person, I called that person, I found out the form to use, and I emailed you the form telling you what to do."
Right.
And he says, "Corey, I got it. Between your ears is a sponge. Like, you absorb everything, everything deeply. And Corey, you run in front of arrows that are in the air to hit somebody else.
No lie.
You will take the arrows, saying, I'll be fine, just so somebody else doesn't get hit.
Mm-hmm.
He said, between my ears, it's like listening to a conch shell. You can hear the ocean. Right? I think it's my parents.
Okay.
I think you'd probably find a similar trait in my brother.
Okay. Dan, what kind of help do you think people need most but rarely ask for?
Empathy.
Oh, wow.
This country is extremely tough to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely tough. And it is designed for... I've studied politics, political science. I've looked at some things for anthropology. I've looked at some of the ways this country is set up. And it's set up for very wealthy people.
Right.
Or poor people.
Okay.
And so if you don't have a lot of money,
mm-hmm.
you can have a pretty good standard of living in Bermuda. And I don't mean the food and rent and all that stuff, right? Assuming you can at least take care of that. Really, have you taken the ferry from Dockyard to town?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's that ride like?
It's tranquil.
Really, where you live, I'm not going to put it on air, but where you live,
mm-hmm.
would the average Bermudian consider the view from where you live? Like if we just said where you live right now,
right.
would anybody think, oh, he has a good view?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Okay? And so Bermuda, on the one hand, is so small that we all think we know what it takes to live here.
Yes.
And so people who may live differently or want to live differently or having challenges living that way don't find a whole lot of welcoming shoulders in this country.
Right.
This is a tough country to live in.
Yes.
And so for me, empathy. The amount of times that, and to be honest, black men, I had to write a letter for someone,
mm-hmm.
a black man. And this is typical, what I'm about to tell you. I will get a call or WhatsApp or an email,
mm-hmm.
and the person tells me a story.
Right.
And they need some help. And in that story, I 99% of the time hear the solution while they're talking to me. But Bermuda has beat this person down so badly that they don't see the solution.
Right.
Okay? And one of the, can I tell you the most rewarding thing I've done?
Sure.
For some, okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
This happened, and this happened maybe, where are we now? 26, so 24. This would have been in 2023. Someone contacted me, and this is typical, right? Hi, my name is so-and-so, such and such. I was talking to so-and-so, and they said to give you a call. You might be able to help me out. You know, like the Equalizer or those kinds of things. It's like that.
Okay.
So I meet this person, and really this one was one of the toughest ones I had to deal with, honestly. Okay. This was tough. But this gentleman had been to family court a number of times. And if you don't know, I'll just, maybe you do or you don't, I don't know. But
mm-hmm.
in Bermuda,
yes,
when a married couple separates, that's called divorce. And that divorce happens in Supreme Court, where unmarried couples have a child, and you have to deal with the custody and care control of the child.
Yeah.
That's what family court is for. Okay?
Yes.
So he had court orders, all sorts of things from family court, but the mother of his child had taken the child away from Bermuda and was not honoring the court orders.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found, and I'll say this here, because you know I don't hold back, family court, in my opinion, is biased against men and against single fathers and against fathers. I've had more than enough dealings with men dealing with family court to tell you when I said the empathy part, because the empathy would just allow you to hear their cases and hear them properly.
Right.
So, anyway, I helped this gentleman to represent himself. I don't go to court. I'm not a barrister or a lawyer, so I can't go to court, and I don't go to court. But I will help you so that when you go to court for yourself, you're straight. Mm-hmm. And so he went to court. And my understanding was that things were going quite well and that he was winning.
Yes.
And I was that was 2023. In 2024, I saw my cup match. Just so happens that my camp was next to his camp. Right. Oh, no, one camp down.
Okay. And
we waved and spoke, and it was all good, right? And I'm pretty sure it went well in family court for him. But really, he called me. No, I was in Hamilton Marketplace. I'll identify it.
Right.
Last summer. And as I'm walking to check out, I look to my right, and I was floored. This man was approaching me with his daughter in his shopping cart.
Okay.
Babe, that girl has no idea who I am, and I don't want her to know who I am.
Right.
But to know that he had his daughter here?
Yes.
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 That right there was probably the most rewarding thing I think I've done to help somebody.
Okay.
And I've done some things, but that one?
Yes.
Boy.
Okay. Then has helping others ever cost you something personally?
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, every time.
Okay.
Every time. I'm helping someone right now, and I'm hoping that the person I had to write to understands the role I had to take.
Okay. Well, here we're winding down, but you're doing pretty good.
Well, you've been at it.
Mm-hmm. I hope I'm hitting some points.
Yes, you have. Okay. I was going to take notes. I couldn't even take notes because I realized I have to stay focused on what you're asking because,
Well, here, these got a little easier.
Okay.
How do you recharge when the world feels too loud?
You know something?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the world like that.
Okay.
I must say, I get very few visitors. I get very few phone calls, and I don't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. That part, the going, where I'm really thinking about trying to address in 2026. But I truly am an introvert. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I really, really am. And there are a couple of times I'll see an event and go, wow, I should go. Oh, I think I'd like to see that. And the day comes and it's gone. I haven't even remembered it. Okay. So, but I will tell you, I really, really like old, clever humor.
Okay.
It's not racist and discriminatory. I guess a lot of the, if I watch any TV or movies, they're all English because I find that humor is closer to mine than some of the slapstick or quite boring, stupid humor of the other place that we get media from.
Okay. And how do you protect your inner world while still engaging with others?
I make it seem like I'm telling the most deepest, private, personal stuff, but the stuff that I really don't want you to know, you don't even know to ask about.
Okay.
Not you personally,
right?
But just people. So I will, like I said, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. So just be sure you want the answer.
Okay.
But for years, I've been told I tell too much, I say too much, that I give too much ammunition to be used against me. So the other day when I said no weapon formed against me shall prosper, a lot of people say it. The weapons do get formed against me. They do get formed. I can tell you a few.
Right.
And then, so maybe this is probably a good example. A reporter some time ago called me about a story X, right? Or I might even call them, but they called me about a story X and I was giving them background or whatever. And while talking to that reporter, they said that they saw my name in their, like they, I guess, put in a patent request or something, and they saw my name in emails and letters about this issue. And every name in this issue was public in the Royal Gazette and was negative.
Right.
And the reporter said they saw my name, but saw everything I wrote was saying this is wrong. You can't do it. You might, like everything, and so there was no news.
Right. Right.
But I thought boy, oh boy, how would I explain to the people that one? But I realized what I was doing was sticking to my morals anyway, and saying, you all are crazy. I was.
Okay. Okay then. What does strength mean to you today compared to earlier in life?
Same thing.
Okay.
I think the thing that I read up my mother, I have character strength is always the thing for me. And regrettably, I've seen that, I'll say regrettably, tongue-in-cheek, but I've seen that in the, I'll say, young woman I've raised. She, you can talk, and she'll listen, but once the line is drawn, that's it, right? It's over. And I would say that if you try to live a principled life, and you're prepared to sacrifice what's not for you or what you don't gain by principle, then it can be a challenging but simple life.
Okay. When do you feel most understood?
I never feel understood.
No?
Talking to my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I guess we were raised together and whatnot. And when I mean by understood, something could happen and he could give me a look and I know what he's thinking. Or he could say a word that doesn't make any sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to me.
Right.
In terms of, well, I'll tell you what, remember, I'll tell you how wrong I get it.
Right.
That's probably the best way to do it. Back in October 2023, I was on Monday, I was telling you about a speech that I gave for CURB at the Dr. Eve Hudson Racial Awards. Okay, well, no, you can do what you're going to do, but I was going to say, I wrote that speech to show everybody I'm normal. Right. I'm just the average guy. I'm not whatever you think about the news or like it's just me. Well, really, I couldn't have written a speech that did it worse. I found out afterwards.
Right.
So and then one of the people who I kind of looked to in the weeks after that speech, I went to him and I said, listen, I need some help here because. Here I was, I'm an introvert, I don't go anywhere, and I think people misunderstand me anyway. So I gave this speech that I thought was going to make people see I'm just an average guy, and the guy couldn't stop laughing. Just straight up laughing at me.
Right.
And I said, you serious? And he says, you didn't honestly think you're normal. Like, you hold on, you're serious? I'm sorry. And he really had to take it back because he thought I was joking. He was like, Corey, you're long past it. You're who you are. You can't tell people you're something you're not. Oh, you can't. But I said, but mate, it wasn't very pleasant. I could go on about that one, but I would just say it was a challenge. Okay. And it is a challenge when I don't quite fit. So people won't speak to a minister who they see out at a restaurant or bar if they're busy necessarily.
Right.
But if they know somebody who they think knows that minister or knows something that minister, they will speak to them, no problem, which would be me.
Okay. Here we go. We've got 2 more questions.
All right.
Maybe.
Do you need to know what time it is?
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
Maybe. I'm not even watching the clock today. Okay? This is interesting. I'm learning a lot too. Okay. What would you want future generations to understand about your country and its people?
That we were much bigger than we happen to be currently, but we saw that, we overcame that, and watch us now.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I just need to convince us we're capable of that. Mm-hmm. Right? And somebody sent me a link this week of a football game, Bermuda, Mexico. I didn't watch it because I already know that doesn't surprise. You understand?
I got you.
Right? I love my people in my country, and I only want the best. And every time somebody has to leave because the country isn't working out, it hurts me. I wish it didn't. I wish I cared more about, I guess, football or something. But I just care about my country and my people.
Okay. And here comes the last question.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. If your life could leave one quiet lesson behind, what would it be?
I think this, right? And it's a lesson that I need to continue. So maybe I'm biased because this is a lesson that I think I need to learn or be aware of or keep remembering. But I would say, how do I word that? It's God's in control.
Okay.
Okay. And I think one of my biggest things is, am I doing the thing? I'm no angel.
Okay.
Hello, let me repeat that. I am no angel. Okay?
Right.
I'm no disciple. Okay?
Yeah.
I just, in fact, I don't even like saying grace out loud because it's
Okay.
me and the Most High are private.
Okay.
But, you know, the things that I think can be done and the things that get done, or how people think, as I said before, we've wrung out the chamois. There's
Right.
nothing left in how we've been living, in the systems we've had. There literally is nothing left. And the system, that lethal cycle we're on, is telling us we aren't being hired in the jobs, we aren't having the children. So what else is needed in order for us to kick in and understand we've got to do something? That's kind of where I am in terms of what I would like for people to know.
Okay.
That we didn't get here by chance in terms of the positive stuff.
Yes.
We got here positively because of empathy. Right? There is a way to live in Bermuda. The problem is we have not understood that. And because we don't have cultural or national pride,
Right.
we can give it away.
Okay.
We can not know, so we can be angry about a restaurant serving that, or the amount of foreigners that work in that restaurant, or where is the Bermudian restaurant?
Right.
Where is the Bermudian cuisine? That's on us.
Yes.
That's not on anybody else. And I've given all the history I've read, given the culture I've read, given all of that stuff. We can do it.
Yeah, we can.
In fact, we need to do it, really. In fact, that brings me to one thing that I was saying. I've been talking about CARICOM a lot when we were talking about these demographics.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's not plan A.
Okay.
I was told to someone the other day, and I needed them to know that, listen, I'm talking about CARICOM in terms of a source of, or who Black Bermudians are likely to have children with, Asia or West Indies, but that's not the optimum plan. The optimum plan is Bermudians of whatever race having enough children to replace Bermudians of whatever race.
Yes.
Like that's got to be the optimum.
Yes.
And it's not like we haven't been there. We were always there up until the 80s.
Yes.
Okay? And I was warned not to say this. So I think I can say this diplomatically.
Yeah.
There are people who are choosing not to have children.
Yes.
Right? That's a choice that they can make. Not a problem.
Right.
There are also people choosing not to continue the pregnancy to have the child.
Right.
Again, no judgment, but that decision is individual.
Yes.
Definitely, and you can individually make that decision.
Yes.
Collectively, that decision hurts the collective.
Yes.
Both of those decisions, right? I'm not even picking one. So
Right.
it's difficult.
Yes.
Bermudians should be having babies with Bermudians.
So thank you. I'm going to say Corey Butterfield. Thank you.
That was it.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that was easier and harder than what I anticipated.
I think I was hitting some points there. And
Yes.
I think for the questions that were posed to me about you, I hit every single one of them. And one or two were thrown. You understand? I had to.
Yeah.
I didn't throw you no curves.
You didn't, I must say.
You know, and
Yep.
that's because of the respect we have for each other. Not only that, we have a responsibility to give them to raw, but live and direct.
There we go.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So I want to thank those who have stopped me and asked about Corey. I hope that has answered your questions. And you
Me
know
too.
something? And tomorrow we're back to being raw.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic. Sorry.
There you go.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
One other thing.
Yes, mate.
This is what I want to close.
Okay.
I was present when you made a speech at Curb's banquet. It was in honor of Eva Hudson.
Yep, the Racial Justice Awards.
Yes. I didn't at the time, and even up until now, think that speech was given justice, because none of the media outlets covered it.
Mm-hmm.
And today, I want to hear it.
Well, I'll tell you what. We had a caller, if you remember, on Monday that asked if I could read the speech. So I did bring it in just in case.
Good.
The caller, so I do have it.
Okay.
Really? You want me to read?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Then I'll take a quick, get some water because you're going to read this. So we'll take a quick break and then let's just come.
We'll be right back with more of the Corey Butterfield Show here on Magic 102.7 FM.
You want me to read the speech? I did bring it in. There is, you really would like for me to take one call before I do that, so I hope I've hit, nope, that was it. Okay, hello, caller? Hello, caller? Yeah, I'll try, hello, caller, you on the air? I'm not sure what's happening, Billy.
I don't know either.
Hello, caller? Hello? Oh, there we go.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Great, good afternoon. I don't think I was the caller the first one, but I got lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, look, man, I was enjoying listening to you because I don't know you personally, but I follow you quite a bit, Corey.
Okay.
In your dealings over the years, because you know whether you want to believe it or not, you're an out front type of guy.
I thought I was behind the scenes.
Constructive over the years. But I was thinking, you know, one of the things about personalities in Bermuda, you know, there are certain voices that you hear and you admire right away, and you just know who that voice is, you know? And you have one of those voices.
Oh.
I often thought of guys like Julian Hole, Heward Braun, Mike Sharp, Rick Richardson, Glenn Blayton, and Walton Braun. And I always put you in that same category, Corey Butterfield. That type of voice that you recognize and you stop immediately and just want to hear what I got to say, because they're so articulate, but more importantly, and the reason I mentioned you guys, and if you notice, there isn't any white guys or in there, is because you guys speak with a true Bermudian accent that is very articulate and appreciated in terms of, the way you speak. That all of us would love to be able to emulate, to be honest with you. So that's why I haven't, to be honest with you, I mean, I haven't thought of any other group, individual, no matter what the ethnicity is, that I can recognize really has that articulate type of Bermudian voice without sounding, a little too Bermudian.
I got you.
Including myself. If you know what I mean. And that's
I do.
And one thing, I'm like you. I really, really love my people, and I love our accent.
Yes.
And I do love people that speak. I even love to listen to people from St. David,
Definitely.
And I really appreciate the way they speak. But I'm talking about people that, if put on the world stage, would have the type of voice that would present themselves extra articulate, but also maintain that Bermudian accent. You know, so that. But you're certainly in that category of a Julian Hope. You all know how flamboyant and articulate Julian was. And sometimes you guys and Walton, who I knew personally, was the same way. He was humble the way he speaks. But I'm like, well, man, you stand out when you speak, and you're the same type of guy. I think you're a very humble person, but really to us, you have that type of voice. And I'm not surprised that Glenn has got you articulating our history, got your show because of that. You know, part of that reason is because you just got the voice. You know, and really, don't worry, you're not far behind.
Mike, I'm a singer.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
I want to thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. All right, take care.
Observations, you know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, then.
Okay.
So we're gonna get to the speech.
Up to you.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let me just say, this first sentence, this is the first time I realized I can do this. Really, this first sentence was you.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
I will get into the speech now.
Okay.
So you want to make an announcement about calls? Just because I think it's going to take a little longer.
The calls right now until after the speech at least.
Okay, because this is going to go past. Don't think I can get this done in the 21 minutes we have left.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
I can't believe I'm reading this. I haven't looked at this since then, you know.
Well, you know something? It needs to be resurrected.
All right, here we go. This is delivered at Pier 6 upstairs, the 21st of October, 2023. It was for Citizens Upbringing Racism in Bermuda, or CURB, and it was the Dr. Eva Hudson Racial Justice Awareness Awards, where CURB had given awards to people who had worked on racial justice, and I delivered the keynote address. I would say the political leadership of this country was present. So, here we go. Someone in the audience told me that I am the most misunderstood person in Bermuda. That was you, really.
I remember saying something like that.
Okay. I'm not sure how true that is, but I took it to heart and realized part of the reason might be that I've built a career, some would say a lifestyle, of being involved, but being unheard and unseen. I always felt that if I was able to help, regardless of persuasion, wealth, race, etc., that would be serving my people and country and my highest calling. So, to help as many as possible, over the years I developed the principle. If I ever became the story, if my involvement was ever known, then I failed the person I had tried to help. And so I did just that. Silently, I wrote, advised, consulted, trusted, and was trusted, and I got used to being the nerd in the proverbial corner of the small dark room, trusting that the plans and messages were working for the greater good. So how did I get here? How did I end up delivering a keynote address at a celebration of one of Bermuda's most public, outspoken, courageous, and uncompromising social justice champions? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I want to tell you. It all began in 1970. Just joking. Only kinda, though. I took some time to reflect on my life's journey thus far to be able to tell myself how I got here. I reflected on the people who influenced me. I considered my decisions and the consequences of those decisions. I reflected on the weapons formed against me that did not prosper and the times when I might have been the weapon I formed against myself. I worked out that there were 4 men whose life lessons influenced me. My grandfather, Reverend Dr. Cyril Butterfield, from whom I learned how to worship, how to be steadfast, and how service to others is a man's highest calling. He also instilled strict standards as a virtue. My father, Trenton, taught me to be a man, to be a black man in Bermuda and beyond, and he showed me balance, the kind of mischievous balance that I imagine made him a rascal when he was a schoolboy. But my father also taught my brother and I that when you have principles, not preferences, actual principles, they must be unshakable. I recently remembered a story from my youth that on reflection was a crash course in racism, pride, and restoration. My mother, father, brother, and I were in New York around 1979 and 1980. My mother and brother were in one shop, while my father and I kept walking and went into another shop, about 3 doors down. We walked around, and my dad didn't really see anything, so we were walking out. As we approached the door, the shopkeeper came over and sort of patted my father on his upper chest, just above his heart, while saying, "Have a good day." I had no idea what happened, but my father lost his mind. He turned on that man in an instant and shouted, "You think I was stealing? You think I need to steal from this grubby little shop? I own a business. I'm not even American, but you only saw a black man. Let me show you it's my wallet. So I tell you what, I'm going to be that person. Corey, go get the gun." And I took off. I ran out of the shop to go get the gun. Actually, I ran to my mother and brother and excitedly told my mother what had happened. We 3 then went back by the shop and my father was still inside. I went in, patted my jacket pocket and said, "I got it. And the rest of us are waiting outside." He told me to wait outside with them. You didn't hear their conversation, but I can tell you, it was one of the first times in my life I saw a white man cry. Years later, when I was a teen, my family went to New York again. And as we walked on a sidewalk, a man standing outside his shop shouted out to my father by name. This was New York, not Front Street. Well, it was the same shopkeeper from years before. Apparently, when I left the shop to go get the gun, their conversation was, in Curb's language, a restorative session. They became and remained friends over the decades. Some of you here this evening may recognize a characteristic that initially conveyed absolute, forceful, undiluted fury. That was my father. And then those sentiments were followed up and accompanied with a calm, understanding friendship. If that seems and sounds familiar, now you know who to blame. That was me. Next was Paulo Camargo-Fago, Roosevelt Brown, or Roos. He was my mentor and a warrior. He was, of course, a literal warrior. We spoke about him fighting and carrying messages and intelligence throughout the global south. We spent hours and hours and hours talking, with me listening and learning. However, the most important lesson Paulo taught me was not a lesson at all. It was the 8th of November 1998, the night before the 1998 general election. We had been deeply involved in the campaign and had worked flat out. It was around 8 o'clock and we were there alone. The party was so prepared for the inevitable victory that Alaska Hall was empty. As I closed the door, I said, "Man, I can't wait till tomorrow so I can finally sleep." Instantly, Paulo said, "I can't wait till tomorrow so I can finally work." In a flash, I realized the value of the victory. It was far bigger than politics. His few words showed me the massive difference between preparing for the wedding and preparing for the marriage. Since that night, I have never forgotten that why we do what we do is far more important than what we do. Perhaps because of my foundations are based on principle and service, there came a time when my service to the PLP conflicted with my service to Black Bermudians. In fact, at the time, I felt Black Bermudian interests and anti-racism and the PLP were simply incompatible. This fork in the road came in 2001, 2002, when my then employer, son of the soil Harold Darrow, filed a human rights complaint on behalf of Black Bermudian businessmen. I won't get into the details, but suffice to say that I tried to live a principled life. Harold is one of the most principled, disciplined men I know, and if we found ourselves on one side and the PLP and a bank on the other side, it wasn't Darrow and Butterfield who forgot who they are. If you keep an eye on the news, you will see that 2 decades later, Darrow is still pursuing justice. When Darrow filed the complaint, Dr. Hodgson was on the Human Rights Commission and had expressed some support for the complaint. However, one day, Dr. Hodgson had rightfully railed against the PLP in the media. I was the public relations officer, and I had to rebut her, which I did. And the Royal Gazette printed our exchange. When I got to work, Darrow asked me to call Dr. Hodgson and ask her a question about the complaint. I was stunned. I asked whether he had seen the paper, and he replied that he had. So, how can you ask me to call her? Well, we've been kind of going toe-to-toe. His simple answer, posed as a question, was, does that have anything to do with your job? I replied that it didn't, and nervously, sheepishly called Dr. Hodgson, seeking her help. Dr. Hodgson was empathetic and incredibly honorable. In fact, she helped this scared young man, gave me sound advice, and told me she understood where I was. From that day on, I found Dr. Eva to be equally generous and clever. That moment was a reminder of why we do what we do. Dr. Hodgson was not merely an appointee on the commission. She was a teacher. She had read Darrow's story and did what came naturally. She saw injustice, created a teachable moment, and then helped. Okay, so I told you about strong personalities that influenced and molded me, and of course there are others, but the simple trait that they all share resonated deeply with me. If one asked what personal trait did my grandfather share with Paulu, it might not be obvious unless you had the valuable exposure I had. The trait that they all shared, of course including Dr. Hodgson, was that they were not victims. It's that simple. They did not allow themselves to be victims of anyone or any system. And as a result, I just cannot allow myself to be a victim of anyone or any system, including racism. You just could not victimize my grandfather. He was too faithful, astute, and articulate to allow you to oppress or bully him. My father's biblical verse was, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of the wicked. So threatening him with the loss of money or prestige had no impact on him, or me, or my brother for that matter. Everybody from the Queen of England to Australian Aboriginals knew Paulu's beliefs, and he was prepared to die for them. Paulu was nobody's victim. Harold Darrow is still standing on a simple principle, and nothing you read in the RG matters to him. He is like Bob Marley in his song. He is confident of the victory of good over evil. And then there's Dr. Hodgson. Cut off, unemployed, disrespected, discarded, refused, and rejected. Just like the prophets of the Bible, celebrated and revered overseas, but with no honor in her own country. But even facing all of that, it would have been a brave person that dared to call her a victim to her face. According to Dr. Hodgson, we have all been victimized by racism for sure. But anti-racism was the very few that empowered her writing, teaching, traveling, and forcefulness. That is most definitely not a victim. For sure, nobody's victim, but when I saw a 2018 video interview with Dr. Hodgson, it made me think. It made me take up a challenge. In truth, it made me decide to challenge Dr. Hodgson. The portion that moved me went like this. Here's the question. Do you think Bermuda will be grappling with the issue of racial inequality 100 years from now? The answer, without missing a beat, most likely. The questioner said, do you? And was incredulous. Dr. Hodgson's answer, I don't see any sufficient change in the last 50 years to assume it will all go away in the next 100. My guess is that some folk think that was pessimistic or even harsh, but let me put you in Dr. Eva's shoes. Dr. Hodgson's seminal book, Second Class Citizen, First Class Men, was published in 1963, and the doctor had been consistently calling for racial equality before then. To give you context, the PLP was formed in 63, and I wasn't even born. Between 1963 and 2020, Dr. Hodgson must have written and published well over 600 newspaper columns and letters to the editor, between the Recorder, the Workers' Voice, the Bermuda Times, and the Royal Gazette. Calls for equality came throughout legislative segregation and people-powered integration, during the birth of the UBP in 1964 and the impact of party politics. Efforts continued through the PLP's 1998 landslide victory and even after 2003, when Dr. Hodgson witnessed Dame Jennifer spearhead one person, one vote, each vote of equal value, obliterating the possibility of racist constituency gerrymandering of the past. Dr. Eva saw the formation of the BDA, the formation of the UBA, and its 2012 victory, the 2020 brutal death of American George Floyd, and the global Black Lives Matter movement, the 2017 accession of a young black male premier, and none of those events, occasions, or appointments significantly changed the experience of racism for black Bermudians. If those seismic events did not improve race relations, what should Dr. Eva have assumed would make things better? Or, to put it another way, is systemic racism inevitable and permanent in any country that had slavery and colonialism? Can we start a process to make Dr. Hudson's prediction seem pessimistic when we look back at it? Rather than making a new Bermuda, can we actually be better Bermudians? Well, let's look at it. Let's look at racism the way Dr. Eva spoke about it. Quite often, and to be provocative, Dr. Hudson would say, Bermudians want the status quo, or black Bermudians must be inferior. Those statements are harsh, maybe even unhelpful, but let's play a logic exercise. Given the difference in collective wealth, incarceration rates, unemployment, health insurance coverage, home ownership, and many other factors between black and white Bermudians, either slavery, racism, and legislated systemic racism impacted the quality of life for generations, or all of that is irrelevant and nature is at play. Either the race that is wealthier, more employed, less impacted by criminal justice, and scores highest on most quality of life charts had a privileged history, or they're just lucky. But Dr. Eva was a scholar who dedicated her life to study, wrote books, gave speeches, lobbied governments, was a teacher, headed the teachers' union, and many other things in the name of racial equality, so it makes no sense to play games. Our society was intentionally designed. It is plainly obvious. There are causes of racism and there are symptoms of racism, but racism gets fought every day and there are remedies. Most of what we know comes from Dr. Hudson's dedication, work, and experience. So when it comes to Dr. Hudson and her anti-racism work, why wasn't she more celebrated? Was it the message or the messenger? I thought of one way we might be able to explore that dynamic of message versus messenger live and direct tonight. I will read you two statements about the same topic. After reading both, I will reveal the authors, and maybe, as we reflect on the impressions we have about race, political persuasion, or even gender, we can each begin to distill the difference between the message and the messenger. When talking about the police overuse of stop and search against young black men around a decade ago, someone said, listening, if you're a person of color, you're 4 times more likely than a white person to be stopped by police without probable cause and searched. Someone else said, whites have never been the target audience for law enforcement in Bermuda. The attention from Bermuda's criminal justice system towards the black community is grossly disproportionate. White Bermudian offenders are given chances, while black Bermudian offenders are given sentences. The data is clear. We have to fix this. That first comment caused all sorts of comment in society. The second one is largely unknown, although it was published online. Former CURB President Cordell Riley said the first in 2012, which was, If you're a person of color, you're 4 times more likely than a white person to be stopped by police without probable cause and search. And that caused us stink. However, former Minister of National Security Jeff Barron said the second one in 2020. And that was the one so this was Jeff Barron. Whites have never been the target audience for law enforcement in Bermuda. The attention from Bermuda's criminal justice system towards the black community is grossly disproportionate.
Yes.
White Bermudian offenders are given chances, while black Bermudian offenders are given sentences. The data is clear. We have to fix this. That was the Minister of National Security, Jeff Barron. Shall we do one more? Let's use Not the Show, a sketch or variety type show that was performed by white men live. At the time, it ran. To some black and white Bermudians, it was racist, and to other black and white Bermudians, it was funny. If we leave it to opinions, then mine is as important as yours. So how do we improve? How does the person who feels insulted receive understanding and reconciliation? Or is comedy so important that racism should be allowed? About the show. Someone said, that was the most racist show I've seen. I'm shocked you brought me to it. Someone else said, while they are explained in colorblind terms, they reinforce racialized stereotypes in their content, context, and detail. The first person who said, that was the most racist show I've seen, I'm shocked you brought me to it, was a South African tourist who had just seen it. The second one was published in a paper by Oxford professor Dr. Rosemary Hall in a paper Mouths of Others. Dr. Hall identified that black and white Bermudians have different dialects. Yet when the performers wanted to show negative attributes, either drunk, lazy, untrustworthy, they used a black Bermudian accent. Dr. Hall's paper has linguistic analysis, cultural research, interviews with the performers, interviews with other Bermudians, and concluded that it was linguistic minstrels at play. I think those two examples may explain that even if Dr. Hudson used crayons and cartoons, even if she had Julie Andrews' voice rather than Maya Angelou's depth, it would not have made any difference. Like Dr. Eva, I believe our comfort zones around race and racism are so comfortable, so reinforced and solid, that the cognitive dissonance of knowing we are still suffering racism, but we're not willing to confront it, is the foundation of our comfort zone. It reminds me of a meme that I saw. A leader is standing at the front of a room much like this, and he asks, who wants change? And everyone raises their hand. It was unanimous. He then said, who wants to change? Who wants to change? And not a man moved. I have learned something working with Curb, and it's something Dr. Eva would have known by the 60s. And that is, once you're on the front lines of anti-racism, you must be intentional. The reason you have to be as committed and direct as Dr. Eva is that you are fighting or trying to uproot intentional racism, white supremacy, systemic racism, ignorant, not just malicious racism, and then internalized racism. When it comes to internalized racism, in June 2008 in The Worker's Voice, Dr. Eva said, just as whites have a challenge in facing their racism and its full implication, we as blacks will find that we too are challenged when told to face the racism which we have internalized and all of its implications. Phew, that is something. But it shows that both races suffer due to this scourge of systemic racism, but neither race knows exactly how it operates and therefore how to destroy it. If we are to take up the challenge and have better race relations within the next 100 years, what will it take? Well, given I know a little bit about it, let's start with politics. After all, maybe this is all just about politics. I want to read you a quote, and as I do, please think about what era it relates to. You can try to guess the exact year, but you'll be wrong. So I'm going to read this quote. At no time does party spirit run so high as at the election of a member. Upon such occasions, the whole island is in a ferment. To vote is to stamp a man of one party or another. It is utterly impossible for anyone unacquainted with Bermuda to form an idea of the length to which party spirit is carried. It enters into the most private relationships of life. A blank and a blank are as distinct and have as little in common between them as if they were men not only of different countries, but of countries hostile to each other. In private society too, the distinction is very strongly marked. Families of different parties do not mingle, and even tradesmen find their custom affected in a considerable degree by these political divisions. Although party spirit isn't itself so thoroughly unimportant and contemptible to all except those who live under its influence, yet it deserves this notice in as far as it influences the state of society in impeding the progress of civilization and the march of improvement. Party politics has extinguished public spirit, which exists only among a few. For the petty triumph of party is preferred at all times to the public good. You won't guess unless you read that specific book, so I'll tell you. I want you to guess the year that that book was written. You won't guess unless you read this specific book, so I'll tell you. Those words were written by Theodore Godet in 1860. I swear the division spoken about there could have been from 1960 or 1970, but instead, that was at a time when there were no black voters or MPs. The divisions, consequences, and way of life that Godet described shows that the Westminster system is the egg that hatches or produces the consequences of our racism, the chicken. Our petty politics trumps our national interest. I now just want to show you a casual, brief analysis. But for it to work, we have to make a huge leap in our imaginations. Just for this experiment, I know it isn't real life, but just for the next 2 to 3 minutes, pretend that the OBA is a white party and the PLP is a black party. I know it is a stretch, but try really hard. The so-called white party had a majority of 2 when it won in 2012. And at 19 to 17, I'm not sure I would have advised them to take on the BPSU, but they did, and they turned the tourism department into an authority. In addition, the OBA held America's Cup, building Cross Island and dockyard costing about $39 million. Regardless of whether you think AC-35 was a boost or a cost to our economy, that island was a major expense and it sits there idle today. In contrast, with massive majorities, in 2023, a PLP government did not ensure Cup Match was broadcast, notwithstanding it's a unique holiday in the world, could showcase Bermuda's tourism worldwide without paying foreign agencies, and it is a black Bermudian cultural expression. It is a failure like not broadcasting Cup Match, the failure to preserve historic buildings that are culturally significant to slavery, emancipation, and black Bermudians. The fact that West End warriors must go end to end seeking respect for black tradition and history. For me, it looks like a fork in the road I faced working with Darryl in 2002. However, is the elephant in the room immigration? The OBA tried to reform immigration, and rather than the reform heralding a new way, it was seen as an attack on Bermudians and became a millstone around their necks. However, the PLP has come to power and is going much farther with immigration than the OBA even thought to, and it is doing so largely without any backlash. Why is that? We can compare the charm and attractiveness of Michael Fay versus Jason Hayward, the respective ministers. We can consider whether PLP had better PR, etc. Ultimately, I personally think it was a matter of trust. For whatever reason, voters thought that the white party was trying a shot and didn't trust their motives while seemingly trusting the motives of the black party. This conflict, party versus country, appears to only exist in the black community, but that is not so. The division is merely a reflection of the progress of systemic racism in Bermuda. In other words, the politics is racial because the political system depends on conflict, and race is the most obvious trait to cause conflict and divide people. What is truly interesting is what happens to counter that cynicism every 5 years in politics. In 1998, Bermudians voted overwhelmingly for a new Bermuda. In 2012, the One Bermuda Alliance won. And in 2017, Bermudians voted to smash the two Bermudas. Leaving aside the anomaly of the 2020 election, it's obvious that we Bermudians want our politicians to unite the country, and we tell them by voting for campaigns that promise to do so every chance we get. This was Dr. Hodgson's issue. Parties do not reflect people, they reflect power. A century after Godet, Dr. Hodgson wrote about the impact of our political system on racial equality. The doc called it out in her 2008 book, The Experience of Racism in Bermuda and Its Wider Context. And I read this quote before, really, but I'll read it. And I quote, "Globally, black societies and nations need inexorable advocates to defend the black causes and to fight for justice and equality. The PLP had the opportunity to be such an advocate, but their rhetoric focused on socialism and labor. It was disastrous for the racial progress of the black community that the emergent party decided to ignore racism. Most black people do not understand universal franchise or socialism and were terrified of communism. They did understand racism, segregation, and economic exclusion. Even more destructive to the black community was the fact that the story of Bermuda's experience with racism ceased to be about the victims of injustice and their struggles for a more just society and became the story of the party and the struggle for a limited number of individuals seeking power and influence within that party. Conflict caused by the introduction of political parties was seen among blacks. For the black community, party allegiance also meant that intelligent, disciplined, successful black individuals were prevented from contributing their much-needed skills and experience to the country because they did not belong to either party." Remember the fishing cooperative, Billy?
Yeah.
Later in the book, Dr. Hodgson further laments the destruction of unity in the black community due to the emergence of party politics. Dr. Eva noted that the UBP caused division as they needed the optics of black voices in the government, so they incentivized certain black Bermudians. At the other end, the hopeful PLP was dividing black Bermudians into left-wing and right-wing, seeking candidates who could represent labor. Writing about 1964, Dr. Hodgson said, "At this point in time, few blacks were actually joining the PLP. It was both ironic and disastrous for the black community that both the PLP and the UBP were intent on dividing the black community while the white community remained politically intact. It was inevitable that the black struggle for racial justice would come to an end while racial insults continued." I feel that now is a good time to advise some and remind others that CURB has nominated Dr. Eva Hodgson to be a national hero twice under this government, and the nomination was rejected both times. But what about education? Is it about education and the public versus private system? What is the system, and what did Dr. Eva have to say about that? In 1960, as president of the Union of Teachers, under the title, "What is the Bermuda Teacher's Responsibility?" After describing attributes of a good teacher, Dr. Eva pondered, "If we, as good citizens, accept the unstated but implied assumption of the status quo, that colored people are inferior to white, and perhaps as Bermudian and as teachers, we have no interest in changing that status quo, but merely in knowing what steps do we take to fit in this position of subservience and at the same time retain inner integrity." Let me just clarify that. What she's saying is, how is it, because I realized, wow, that one's not that clear. The status quo is that black people are inferior. Teachers have responsibility to challenge that status quo. If not, then teachers are training our young people where to fit within the status quo and be subservient. So how do you teach students to be all they can, to maximize their gifts and talent, while knowing the society in which they will work and live does not represent them merely due to skin color? This was an authentically tough question for Dr. Hodgson. How can such a proud teacher genuinely teach while knowing the practical obstacles and shut doors they will face that have nothing to do with their intellect or deportment? At this point, I wish to depart a bit from the life and legacy of Dr. Eva and tell you about CURB's work in education. A lot of Bermudians like to believe that race relations is an old people thing, that our youth are far more tolerant and woke, and therefore the issues of our past are not their present. Nonsense. In January, Curb had an event for the International Day of Racial Healing at BUEI, primarily attended by black private school students. That was not the design nor the intention. During the sessions, the student recounted racism they endured, and they spoke about the empowerment they felt after hearing the information at the event. I had presented Bermudian history with a focus on black culture at private and public schools throughout 2023. Curb's executive director, Stacey Lee Williams, sits on an education reform committee, and there's one more development I wish to speak about. In 2011, Professor Ronald Mincy published a paper about black male students in Bermuda's public education system and the impact of zero tolerance for antisocial behavior. Throughout that paper, Mincy speaks positively about the impact of black men being present in the schools as a deterrent to negativity and an influence on positivity. As a result, I and Curb met with Men in Education as a group under the BUT and heard first-hand accounts of the roles that black male teachers play in schools simply because they are men. The meetings revealed challenges, obstacles, and recommendations to increase the number of black male teachers. Being more agile than a government meant Curb met, applied for funds, and were very recently granted funds to collaborate with the BUT and Men in Education to launch a campaign to attract male teachers. Separately, Curb has also been to schools to carry out restorative practices to resolve conflicts between students, teachers, and parents, students and teachers, and each time we instill culture and pride. Throughout 2023, it became obvious to me that Curb is in a unique position in the country. Curb has no authority or regulatory powers. Curb cannot force anyone to do anything, and his reputation is built on work, empathy, and justice. I thought I'd end by telling you about 3 other types of work Curb carries out. One day, a man called Curb seeking advice. He had been at work and told a joke that his co-workers told him was racist. He was flabbergasted and, of course, disagreed as he had no intent. He is married to a black woman, and when he got home, he told his wife the joke and asked if it was racist. She told him in no uncertain terms it was. He wanted and received Curb's help to understand why it was racist, and he signed up and attended courses. A member of an enthusiast club contacted Curb to say he and other black members found the club's executive to be racist. Curb contacted the club and met with the executive. It was a fraught meeting, with the president and secretary refusing to accept any evidence of theirs and the club's racial insensitivity, while other officers saw the issues. There's a new executive now, and they have been eager to work with Curb to draw a line under the old administration. There are a few rare occasions where Curb has to deal with an out-and-out racist. At the moment, Curb is assisting employees who have been subjected to vile racism and the trampling of human and employment rights. The business owner refuses to change and exacerbates his employees' conditions by bullying. When faced with situations like this, Curb will advise the person to go to the Human Rights Commission, the Employment and Labor Relations, and or the police as certain racial acts are crimes. There is one last aspect of Dr. Eva Hudson and this anti-racism work that I wish to explain. For most anti-racist activists, they teach, advise, collaborate, etc. on the issue of racism, so I understand why Dr. Hudson's forecast for race relations improving was simultaneously pessimistic and realistic. What more was she to do? I mean, as my late mother would say, shucks. Even Paulu's autobiography was called Me One, a record of his efforts to help the oppressed around the globe. But for me, I'm optimistic about the future. Mainly because since December 2016, I've been blessed to teach the Blue Flag. For those who do not know, the Blue Flag is the course on Bermuda's history, culture, and people, and since 2016, I've taught it to thousands of Bermudians and residents, and this is why I'm upbeat. When I teach Blue Flag, I teach about slavery, and I teach about why we eat farine pie. Attendees learn that it's not the sea venture on our crest, and they learn about Gibbet Island and Flats. They are taught that Gombe is from Angola and means rhythm. I teach about Old Elliot being built by 12 black men for the education of black children in Devonshire, and I teach folks that McGall's Hill is named after one of 2 Scottish farmers who good Governor Reid brought to Bermuda to show new agricultural techniques. I'm upbeat because the racism, the culture, the obstacles, and victories of our past are all the tapestry of Bermuda's story, and I teach it as one. You cannot leave Blue Flag and know that the Kahal is our national bird without also knowing that Earl Cameron and Clyde Best broke British color barriers in their industries. But it also means that when I teach about Tucker's Town, I speak about the then government's mindset that there wasn't enough money on the island, so they needed to evict black people and give Furnace Withy 500 acres. Well, if we have an airport, hospital, and electricity company not owned by Bermudians, is there still not enough money on the island? Or is there something else at play? I say that what is at play is a lack of national interest. It shows up at times like when Belco was sold and several Bermudians individually profited but the country lost control. Or when the Bank of Butterfield had a share offering and it was oversubscribed in hours. Or when a hotel is built on Gates Bay Beach, the exact place where Sir George Somers and the survivors came ashore and we don't even know to be vexed. We just don't care on a national scale. And both local and foreign exploiters know this, and they feed on our collective lack of wealth, lack of education, or our racial differences and gain while we lose and point fingers. Dr. Eva's life and legacy demands we strive for and achieve racial equality. I know where my post on the front line is, and I know that I've tried in my own way to bring about equality on a national scale. After all of my nerdiness and reading, I am certain of two things. Firstly, the Tucker experiment is dead. Modern Bermuda is essentially the design and vision of Jack Tucker, a premier who is revered by certain white Bermudians, and the assumptions, norms, and rules are no longer relevant. The second surety I have is that we are not nation building. There are aspects of life in Bermuda that fuel inequality, and I will conclude with what Dr. Eva said in 1965. Dr. Hodgson felt if we solved the problem of race, then we would be equipped to solve all the other issues. Dr. Hodgson, during a State of the Union address, stated, "The State of the Union is one of deep concern that the legislators may find an answer which will create a community so unified in purpose and in mutual trust and confidence that we will all strive together in our efforts to solve all secondary problems." Mm-hmm. We owe it to Dr. Hudson to remove the stench of racism and live a more fair and equitable manner. That way, one day, we may all become better Bermudians. Thank you, good night, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
And thank you, Corey.
Well, that was it. That was this speech given in 2023. I'm going to try this, really. We have a call. Hello, caller, you on the air? Hello, caller? Hi, caller, you on the air?
Yes. First of all, I want to say, man, I love that speech, man. What can we Bermudians do to get Miss Eva Hosny? That's number one. Number two, I think that you're underselling yourself. You should be the premier of Bermuda. And if you don't want to be the premier, you should vote Big Bill.
That sounds like a move.
Yeah, you could be his consultant. No, I'm very serious. There's no other way that we can get justification or anything right in this island. I can't vote for the OVA because I'm just going to do a region and bring in big yachts and tell us we're going to survive in about 10 years. We're going to benefit. Yep. I'm still waiting for that. Yeah? So, and my premier, when is he going to retire? He retired tomorrow. Yeah. He ain't done nothing that's beneficial what you're talking about. Mm. You are the one to be the premier.
Yes.
That is you. Yeah. It's you. I'm telling you. You're selling yourself short if you do anything less. But I will always remember your teachings, and I will always remember what you say, because I listen to you intently, and I try to get anybody and everybody to listen to you. But I still say you should be the premier to make the big changes in this island. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Wow.
Hi, caller, you on the air? Really?
Yeah, one brief question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever considered, or will you consider running for public office in this country? Yes or no?
you land right on the. I didn't think that was the best use of my time and talent. So when I see like people sitting in Parliament for 8 hours, that would drive me crazy because I think it's work I should be doing. So and then I also used to think of it back in the day. I used to think of it like cricket. You know, I like batting but not fielding out, and so I probably shouldn't play cricket because you gotta do both. And I think I would have real problems if I was an opposition MP, sitting in Parliament listening to a government that didn't know what they were doing. So because I wasn't prepared to be both sides of being an MP, I didn't think I should run.
So would you agree now that times have changed since then?
Yes, I would agree. Yes, I would agree. Times have changed. Yes, caller,
what
I
I'm
would.
alluding to is that the statement that your last caller made, quite frankly, is not so far-fetched. People in this country are looking for what you present. That is honesty, number one, and a deep concern. There has been a lot of talk about the ending of party politics. I think there's now a time for any party to be more concerned about the community than they are about the party.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
I heard that.
I think we need a party to some extent, but the bottom line is that unless and until we have a party that's more concerned about the community than the party, which is what we see being exhibited now, things are going to change. And you, sir, whether you like it or not, are the agent of this change that we now see. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Keep on keeping on.
Yes, sir. I want to thank you.
Well, here we are.
It's 4:22. Are we out, really?
Yeah.
Those two calls, thank you. I really will tell you, if you see my face, I struggle with accepting sort of compliment. It really. Hi, caller, you on the air?
Yes, guys. What a show. What a show. First, really,
yes, sir.
a great interview.
Thank you.
Great interview. And Corey,
sir,
think about what you've been asked to do, right? And I'm going to tell you, I want you back in our party.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I want you back in our party.
Okay.
And that's a request. And I don't care what you've been through in the past.
I hear you.
I don't care what you've been through in the past. You know, you got strong shoulders, and there's people here waiting for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And finally, on a lighter note, Big Willie, I'm going up and support the girls tonight. Will you be there?
I'm going to try to get there. Yeah, I have another appointment. I'm going to try to get there, honestly, because I have...
Okay, well, I'll take your place.
Yes.
You can direct...
I hope you can be as loud as he was.
For our friends to come look for me, because I'm
That's what I'm talking about. You got the right priority. Exactly. See that? Gallus.
Okay.
All right, thanks a lot.
Love it.
And you know, both of you know is the Batman.
Yes, sir.
I got you. I got you.
I got you.
Yes, sir. All right.
Take care.
I think we have another caller. Caller, are you there?
Well, I'm here. We're trying to get in on your show, Mr. Butterfield.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to give you something that you may not know about you. And the gentleman that you have sitting with you, that this show is showing strength and character. It's showing the microscopic of a man who is in between the heat and the cold and needs to know that he's hot. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, what I'm going to say to you is that you may not realize the strength of a man because you have a problem that is what's needed.
Mm-hmm.
You are brutally honest.
Oh.
Brutally honest.
Yeah.
And people either going to love you or hate you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you from experience, as a man that you got a similar kind of myself, and I'm going to tell you right now, man, that you are brutally honest, and people are either going to love your delivery because it's true, it's honest, and it's from the heart, and that they cannot repel from that. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, my brother, is that your strength
I'm hearing you.
is some people's weaknesses, and I don't want it to be yours.
Okay.
You have a lot more to offer than just this show here, which I'm telling you, I darn tools. I lose money listening to you.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man, because it's rough. It's rough. Every nickel and dime, you hear brutally honest dialect being put through to Bermuda who needs to get up off the sludge and get into some hard surface, hardcore dialect to understand where we're being. History, see, this is what history is. And you are a student of history. People are students of history, like my cousin, talking about Miss Hudson. All those people that are students of history, you either love them or hate them because you know what? They're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Corey,
I want to thank you. This
all kudos to you,
means a
my
lot.
brother.
Thank
And
you.
I'm going to tell you, and for your, they call him Robin. I'm telling you, this guy, you got beside you, man. His Q&A on you today, and his thing on you today was spot on, and it got me a little more, what would you call it? Delivery on who you are.
Gotcha.
But I knew your grandfather. I sat beside him in church at Bethel.
Oh.
He made me who I am today.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Your grandfather made me sit beside him and deliver scripture. He made me sing in the choir. He gave me that confidence.
Yes.
You are the same cut of a historical lineage
Yes.
of Reverend Dr. Butterfield, who I loved and loved immensely. I knew your father and your family. And Corey, you, I'd like to tell you, you are got what it takes to bring this country off its knees. And I'm telling you, I want you to think about leadership. I want you to think about, because, like I tell you, and it's just what it is. Dr. Butterfield was all up that all that thing, and he would deliver.
Yes. Yeah.
You either liked him or hated him.
That's
But
true.
you know the whole thing about it? You will come back the next Sunday.
Yes.
You
Yes.
listen to him
Yep.
again.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
that is
yes.
true.
Because he was, one thing I want you to understand here is that you are brutally honest, and don't you ever change, because this country has had too many people, facets of making believe, lining their pockets, working for the others just to get ahead, trying to put on the suit, and they look ugly anyway.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you, Corey,
Thank you.
please, just have some consideration.
Oh, I am. Trust me, this show and Coles have taken me somewhere different. I did not anticipate. If you see my
Like
face,
I'm saying
I
again,
appreciate it.
This is not no SpongeBob.
No.
I'm hitting direct, me. Direct from the hip.
That's for sure. Yes, sir.
Corey, Mr. Butterfield, I'm going to call you from here on in.
No, please.
You are what it takes
Yes.
to get this country and people to go along with the brutally honest, the Farrakhan's, all of the people that stood up, the Malcolm X's and all that type of people. People didn't hate those guys, but they were brutally honest. Martin Luther King, and others. You are on the same stage as those guys, but you haven't spoke yet. So please, sir.
Yes, sir. I thank you.
Where from?
This code means a lot. It really does.
I'm going to give it to you for my parents. I'm almost 70 years old,
Okay.
and my parents are speaking highly of you, and that's something that's you don't hear much of.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
people give kudos to a man, and just want to hear you 8 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much for
Corey,
that.
again, be encouraged.
I will.
And,
Thank you so much for that.
Man, just continue on, because it's definitely needed. We need to hear honesty. We need to hear no fluff, man.
Got you.
Okay.
And that's what we're getting from this program. And Mr. Willie,
Yes, sir.
you keep pardon him because you guys got the hit, like the hitter, and the big hit coming forward.
Yes.
And it's really coming through good for us in Bermuda.
Yes.
We got a lot of people and younger people starting to pay attention. They're speaking your name. So, again, sir.
Thank you so much for honestly, thank you for this. You've given me a lot to think about.
I'm calling you brutally honest Butterfield.
It works for me. I want to thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks
again. And thanks again for your time, because I know you could be doing anything else with your ability. Let's leave it there. You have fulfilled many volumes of roles, but this island needs someone like you. Brutally honest. We need it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And thanks again, my man.
Thank you. Okay, take care. Really? This call, I believe, is long distance. Okay. Hello, caller?
Yes, it is long distance.
Hello.
And
Good afternoon.
I'm calling. How are you gentlemen doing?
Fine, thank you.
It's so good to hear you. And it's so good to hear the gentleman who called in. I hear him quite often on the radio. He's I think a retired officer.
Okay.
I give him kudos, and he is so right. I mean, Mr. Butterfield, I'm telling you, Bermuda needs someone like you. I mean, like he said, really think about it. Don't think too hard, though.
I thank you for that.
Amen.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't think too hard, because it's so much going on, and I've come home year after year after year. I've moved back to Bermuda numerous times over the years. Majority of all my family still live in Bermuda.
Okay.
Just about everybody. But I've always wanted to come back home, but to always constantly hear, oh, Bermuda's so expensive. And I know it's expensive. I come home enough to know. But it's just as expensive as living here. And I think sometimes Bermudians really don't understand, everything that's really going on in America, economic-wise as well. They really don't see the wide picture.
Yeah.
You got to live here and really see. And I've come home and I've talked to family, cousins, this one, that one, at parties. There would be discussions on things that are going on in Bermuda, but nobody picks their feet up and say, well, let's go out and protest. Let's put something together and go out and protest against what's going on. You don't like what's going on? Do something about it.
There we go.
I mean, I would, if I could come home, I wish I could, because I still am a citizen of Bermuda. I just am a resident of this country.
There we go.
And, Trump could kick me out tomorrow, and you would almost say I ain't got nowhere to live.
No, sir.
To tell you the truth, but I do have somewhere to live, because the majority of my family do live in Bermuda.
Right.
But, I'm telling you, I've listened to you gentlemen come on, and I've listened to Dr. D, who I love, and he is, you'd be surprised. So many people's in pain over what's going on in that island, and to see what's going on. And for years, I'm been saying, don't think that there's people that don't want your country. They want you out.
Oh, yes, exactly.
So that they come in.
Yep.
I've been preaching that to people coming home, for years. Donkeys. They don't want you there because they want it. And the prices are going up. They keep on throwing this economic crap in people's face and what's going on globally. I mean, I've listened to the premier. He needs to stop talking about what America is and what America's about, and worry about what Bermuda could be and do it for the people of Bermuda.
That's what I'm talking about.
Stop. I mean, come on. I listen. I'm on Magic every single day, all day long, listening to all the talk shows.
Got you.
Various of Bermudians calling in, talking about the issues of Bermuda. So people could say, oh, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She lives out there. I probably know more than a lot of them who are there.
Surely. Absolutely. But I want to thank you so much.
Their eyes are closed, their ears are clogged up, and they're not really paying attention to what's going on that island. And I've come home enough and moved home enough to know. But I second that gentleman. And I mean, if I could come home, I don't know how long you have to be on the island to be able to vote, or you just have to be a citizen.
No, I think as long as you're Bermudian. In fact, you're probably not off the list. You're probably still on the voters list if you voted.
Right, yeah, because I've worked there numerous times over the years.
I'd be surprised if you come off.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but you'd be surprised the amount of people who are going to stand by you. You probably have the whole eye, because you're not going to be selling people's stories because your heart is in it.
It is.
And that's the problem. Too many stories have been told and nothing's been done about it.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to thank you so much. Man,
they're going around talking about taking people's countries as it is. Bermudians better wake up. It's only 60,000 plus of them. They could get rid of you if they wanted to.
Yes,
so Bermudians need to wake up.
I got you. I appreciate this call so much. I'll tell you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Take care. I love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Corey,
yes.
Corey,
yes, ma'am.
The next premier of Bermuda.
I want to thank you. Take care.
Or on your way. On your way.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
We're good on that one. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hi, caller. You on the air?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Hi. Fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I know you're not, but you're doing very well. I can tell you that. I agree with the last two callers.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
But I would like to go back to a question that Mr. Willie asked you. And that was, why do you give and want nothing back? And I'm going to tell you, it's because it comes from your heart.
Yes.
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 Yeah, this got to be
You
it.
You have a server heart. You like to serve, to give, to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a leadership.
Yes, it is.
That's a leadership.
Yeah.
You slipped. Thank you. You slipped that one in there, really.
That's all I want to say.
Okay.
Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
Thank you so much for your call. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Well, Willie, it's 4:38.
Wow.
Man, this has been good. I've really enjoyed this. I must say, I don't only peek from behind the curtain, but I'm glad it was you. Tell you what, we got one more. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yes,
I just want to put this. Hi. Hello?
Yes.
Hi, we're here.
Okay, perfect. Hey, I just want to. I don't get to listen to your show often. I'm in New Jersey. Actually, I'm Corey's brother. So I just.
I didn't recognize him.
You got us real good.
I didn't.
You got us good.
Didn't even. I did not recognize.
No problem. Well, this one actually isn't for you, Corey. I think the callers, the listeners, the audience needs to understand one part. And I wanted to be the last caller, so hopefully I am that.
Yes.
What the listeners don't hear is what I hear every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all the days that it switches over. And that is the value that the listeners give you.
Yes.
I hear every show. I hear about every show. I hear it, whether it's coming from Mr. Ferguson there or from Corey talking about Mr. Ferguson or the callers are calling in. I hear of every show. And the reason I bring it up like that is that, yes, Corey, you do have your value and it's great value. But if it wasn't for your listeners, as you've acknowledged on this show, on a regular basis, and to me, it wouldn't be a show. Yes. So I'm saying this so that the listeners know that it's not, while it's called the Corey Butterfield Show, it's being Bermuda.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I want them to understand the value. The listeners don't see what I see and know where their journey has been and where it's going.
Okay.
But I want them to know and understand that that call isn't as simple. Well, let me just call him. it's a lot
Yes.
deeper than you can believe.
Yes.
With that being said, I know you're wrapping up. You're 40 minutes over. I get it. But I felt that it was important that you're getting your accolades as you should, as well deserved and long deserved.
Yes.
But I want the callers to know their value too.
Yes.
It's not. It's important that they know that they pick up their phone for that. Back in the day when it was 25, 20 cents and $2 and a nickel and a payphone.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Them spending that time to call and put in the value, they don't see what it does to you, and I'm glad that I want them to know what it does.
Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate that.
The energy that's being pulled from each and every call and each and every show has been important and is what keeps me going to hear the stories. Right. I'm actually about to jump into a meeting.
Okay.
But those are the things that I want them to understand the importance and the value of it.
I appreciate that. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
With that being said, thank you on all fronts. Thank you, Bermuda. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Willie. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank you.
Have a good one. We'll talk later.
Yes, we will. All right. Take care. He said last.
Okay.
Up to you.
One more.
Okay,
one more.
Chris, just want you to know, Billy's making, you said you wanted to be the last call. I was going to make you the last call,
It's
but...
about the callers, right?
Yeah.
So we've got one more. That's it. This is our last one.
Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Butterfield. I don't really get to listen to your show that often, but you and the gentleman beside you, I think you give a lot of history, which is definitely great to be heard, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Both of you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to just concur with the lady who called just now from Connecticut, I stop people when they talk to me about complaining about everything.
Yes.
You're complaining, I say, but you're not willing to do anything. That's what I tell people, just like she said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had that in this island. We talk and criticize a lot, but you don't want to do anything.
Yes.
You understand? That's my point.
I agree.
And you all have a great night, because I think you're late. I think you're late.
It was all good.
Have a good night.
You as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
Well, that's it.
Really, thank you for your idea to do this show like this. If you left it to me, it wouldn't happen. I'm used to being behind the scenes. I feel, I've said a lot about me today that I wouldn't normally put out there. But I thank you because I trusted you. I helped you trust, and I thank you for what you've done today.
Well, what we do is on mutual respect for each other, and we've become very good friends. A lot of the views we see what's going on, and we're not afraid to talk about it.
There we go.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, we'll be back tomorrow.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Thank you again to the callers, to the listeners, to those who couldn't get in, this was a different one today, and I feel different. I'm leaving the studio. I don't know, man. You made me. I've not had this feeling before, and this is new. So thank you again, and we will be back at 2:00 tomorrow.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.